Hi, this is Dana, and I will be talking in this video about um, uh, parallel realities, essentially timeline activation. So you will have an idea how it looks like. Um, Now, script activation, essentially, I explained already, means they create a script, they assign roles to different people. Some of those people are paid by them to actually carry on that role. And they usually are people from your environment or simply people that they place in your life. They will put someone in your office, a colleague, a new colleague, or an older colleague which is willing to, in exchange for material advantages, to play a role, to do something against you, to force you to do something, to say something behind your back, and so on. Or in your life, a lover, I don't know, somebody in your family. They usually try to surround you with these people, as many as possible. Now, if you have decent people in your life who don't betray you, which is not very often, they will create fake embodiments on those as well by sending darkness to them, sending levitation to them, attacking them with darkness basically in order to force them to become that role which they created. And I've seen with my own eyes people that actually have a good opinion of you, and due to darkness attack, all of a sudden they start gossiping, they start thinking bad about you, they start imagining things. Many of those are a result of attacks, holograms sent to them, hypnosis, and so on. But the fact is, when a timeline is activated, a parallel reality starts in your life where many people around you become agents of enforcing that script upon you. Their goal, of course, is to force you to play the role they conceived for you. They do fake embodiment on you as well, which is you have to imagine that they create a role. For example, they depict you to be a thief or an addict or a prostitute or a murderer or something, and they send constantly darkness on you to force you to do that thing. So it's very painful from an energetic point of view. You have to understand that they try to enforce a mindset on you which is not yours. It's not easy to carry on this, but this is how they do it basically. People are sent into your lives, or people existent in your life are being recruited for payment, or are being forced to do this. Um, now, many times during this process, they claim your soul. This means they make a soul contract on you. This means they make a sacrifice ritual of you. And this is extremely painful experience. Again, I say from energetic point of view, because the type of the darkness they send, it's extremely painful. Now, the script and everything that lays behind it is a hidden bondage based on a secret society judgment already done on you. Okay, there are declarations created, fake, untruthful declarations being created to do slander on you, so they can justify the judgment and the punishment they create on you. And the punishment essentially is that parallel reality and some measures that they would take against you to steal your rights, to steal your gifts, and so on, which in essence it's their goal for real. But they create all this craziness just to justify it. It usually takes rights from you, and it seeks to force upon you a certain behavior by darkness attacks. And they will imagine anything, and they, for example, they would create an image of you being a drug addict, and saying that you're irresponsible, so for this reason they won't give you the promotion you deserve. You don't they don't They even take your children from you. They do all sorts of things, but you have to understand that it's a process in reverse than it should be. Namely, they start from the aim they have, they create the punishment, and then from that they decide what kind of declarations they make on you and what kind of judgment they make on you, to in order to achieve what they want. And they will declare you sick, You can see many diagnoses with bipolar people with schizophrenia, and usually they will just pump medication in you just to control you and to block your power. All this is only to create those things of which they accuse you of, and to create a justification for taking your rights. Now, once a timeline is activated and the parallel reality starts developing in your life, you will encounter reoccurring situations in your life, patterns of behavior, people from different environments, people that have nothing in common with one another. As I said previously, even people that you will meet later on, which haven't been part of the initial group of making this bondage, all of them will be subdued to this parallel reality, namely fake activations, fake embodiments will be activated upon them, and darkness instantly is sent to them to create that. It doesn't help you to raise vibration, because the logic out there is that raise your vibration. If you encounter this, you can attract in your life good things. You're not going to attract in your life anything, because this parallel reality will be forced upon anyone that comes into your life. Oh, I'm sorry for the dogs. um, and so you have to understand that you have to break the bondage. It's not that you raise your vibration or you do energy healing and you solve the situation. That it doesn't work. This essentially is a mix of astral activity and material existence reality. Those that are paid do the material existence reality. They already act upon that. Astral activity are attacks on those who are not willingly selling you out. So they will force them to create that in your life as a consequence of attacks. And of course, that is done on you. So it's a mix of astral activity and material existence reality. Now, to break it, ideally, you aim to nullify all in astral so it won't become material existence. Uh, uh, Much of it you might not be able to nullify in astral, though, once this is set in motion. First of all, once this is set in motion, nobody can stop it, not even them, because it's already darkness which is sent upon you and upon others. So it gets out of the control. Nobody can fully control this. You don't know how people will react and what it's going to come to. Attacks are continuous. So then you must take action in reality to put an end to astral lies. If you cannot break it in astral, then you must take action in reality to change and to stop the astral development of those lies before they become reality. I'll give you an example. In 2018 June, as I said before, a very dramatic attack was launched at me in my own home, and I did astral fighting. I claimed justice, judgment, and punishment, and all. But God at some point said, you are covered in darkness. Nobody hears you or sees you in astral. So nobody can come help you, and you're isolated. You're completely surrounded. All your neighbors are in this, and you're completely surrounded by them. So nobody can hear you. So what Jesus taught me at that point in time, he said, you're going to make official complaint in which you explain what is happening to you. And I went to the intelligence agency where the individual who was creating all this against me was employed, and I made official complaint about it. I explained, your officer with name this and this did this, created this against me in my house, this type of attacks. I request that he be punished. I request that I would be informed what's going to happen. Now, everybody that hears about it will say, this is crazy, you can't do this. Especially if you know that the institution, the Intel institution, is involved in it. Well, but I explained, you have to do this, because this God said, they made lie untruthful declaration saying that you agreed with them coming into your house, and that you threw a party and you invited them into your house. Of course it was not true, but there was no other way for me to stop it or to prove it. So no, sorry, no matter how crazy this might seem. A formal complaint at the institution puts an end to it because it's a material existence step that you take. And that puts an end to astral lies behind it. Um, for example, at the same time, I submitted my resignation because they were using me working at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as a justification for them having rights over me, because they created this system in Astral where intelligence agencies have rights over people in public institutions in Astral. So there was no way for me to fight this. Jesus showed me this is a system which they created in a secret society. You by yourself in this moment while you're under attack, you cannot change it just by. So submitting my resignation basically cut off any claims that they were making at me based on my profession and my job at MFA. So all doesn't matter how crazy some of them actions that you take might seem, but they can save your life, and they can save your life in terms of you being able to stay in light and hear God and get guidance to fight on. So taking material existence actions will end some of the astral activities which are too complex for you on your own to break it in efficient timing so you can actually carry on your fight. Okay, you aim to expose everyone that is being involved. This is why Jesus showed me you must make complaint, because in other lifetimes they did this to you, and then everybody said, we didn't know this is happening to her. If she would have come to us and explained to us, we would have helped her. But in fact, it was them who was doing this to you. So you have to make complaint, official complaints. So for this reason, you can hold them accountable, because they not only didn't take measures, but they created this on you. So you have to do this. So I did it, of course. You constantly have to claim justice, judgment, and punishment, because claiming justice will show to you what is being done. By claiming justice, God can come to you and show you what is being done. By claiming judgment and punishment, you can cut off their power. Even if that doesn't end in that very second, but you can cut their power. And this will reveal things to you which are being hidden, and you cannot see guidance unless you ask justice. God will take you to the exactly those who created this in all lifetimes. If you can't go to those individuals because they're in certain positions, God will take you to a different individual which is embodiment of the same role. Okay, so this is very complex, and God is much more involved than you even imagine, hands-on in this fight. I tell you, if you don't fight it, you might be able to walk a path with God for a long time. But all of these parallel realities will become material existence due to others who are involved and comply with the script. Some of them, as I said, they betray you for material gains, and they actually ask for material advantages in exchange for what they do to you. And others simply because they can uphold their light in face of darkness attack. You don't have to dwell on who is guilty in which way, to what extent. Um, you have to claim justice. God will show you who's guilty. God will also show you why they did it. But you have to claim judgment on them, and God will deal with each according. This is why the claim for justice, it has different levels of being guilty. Direct action, but also intentions, but also direct actions, but also those who facilitate actions against you by even lying or just not saying the truth, or so on. If they succeed to transform a script, a parallel reality, into material existence, the way to nullify that is you go through it, through that material existence which they created for you, staying in your light, which will prove the lies behind the script. And I'll give you one example. You have to know, and I'm telling you this just so you'll know, because this is bound to happen, because there are so many and you're all alone. Before they start activating parallel realities, usually they tend to isolate you, so you won't have help. So this is why I'm preparing you to tell you that this is bound to happen. Don't get scared. you can still fight it even if it becomes a reality. I'll give you one example. I said in a previous video, a few months ago, they killed two puppies taken from the street, stray puppies. They poisoned them and they threw them in my courtyard. And then my neighbors, both left, right, and across the street, when I got out in the morning in the courtyard, I found two bodies of two dead puppies, and all of them came out, and they started yelling at me, making accusations. You murdered them. You're a criminal. Your dogs are criminals. They murdered these puppies, and all sorts of things. Now, of course, those puppies shouldn't have been in my courtyard, you know. And no, I knew my dogs. I raised my dogs since they were born. They are not aggressive dogs, and they were very small at the time, so they couldn't kill them. And especially that I was in the house all the time, so I could have heard if there was something happening in my courtyard. So essentially, what I did, of course, I answered to them. I said, "These two stray puppies shouldn't have been in my courtyard. You threw them here." And I took the bodies. I separated them somewhere, isolated them in my courtyard. Then I went into the house and I called the police to come. I called 911 to come and to see the situation, to take the bodies, to make investigation, to prove them. I was already extremely upset by this, you know, and I was in deep shock, of course. After I called the police, you know, I asked Jesus, I said, what is going on? How is this happening to me? You know, and Jesus told me, calm down. You won this fight the second when you called the police. I couldn't understand at the time. It was difficult for me because when a parallel reality is unfolding, usually it's a hidden bondage, which means God cannot show it to you ahead of time. So basically what Jesus showed me later was that their plan and the parallel reality they wanted to create was that they already made, before this happened, they already made declarations and the judgment on me, saying that I murder dogs, that I do witchcraft with dead bodies, and they created holograms with me taking the two dead bodies into the woods and burying them into the woods and doing some sort of rituals. Essentially, what they were trying to do to enforce a punishment on me, to block my spiritual gifts and my spiritual work, to say that I am a witch and I'm doing all of this. And um, this is why Jesus said, the second you call the police, you won. But he Jesus explained to me and showed me what exactly we intended to do much later in the evening already, because there was too much darkness before. So essentially, they created all of this. Then they killed the dogs. They threw the dogs into my courtyard, and they already had the holograms, the declarations, and the judgment created on me. They were just waiting for me to take the dogs from my courtyard. And they were trying to depict me like this crazy witch, which is burying animals in the woods and is creating rituals, which of course is not true. And of course, as a normal human being, I called the police as soon as I found anybody, um, human or animal, in my courtyard, because it's a soul. And because I knew from the beginning that it's they're doing. And of course, I called the police, and the police was already sided with them. They were already prepared, and they refused to take the bodies of the puppies. They refused to enter my courtyard to check the scene where this happened. They refused to do anything, and they said essentially that, you know, it is your dog's fault. We have to take your dogs. And this, excuse me, first of all, this is my property, so my dogs were defending my property. What, as a policeman, why don't you come to check how these puppies got into my courtyard? You know, I have 2 meters fence, 2 meters height fence. How would a puppy come into my courtyard? Second of all, my dogs are puppies themselves. They cannot kill, you know. And if there would have been a fight, I would have heard. So this is not true. This is something that they created. And he refused to do this. So I took the 2 bodies myself. I went to an institution, a public institution of animal medical care, and I requested necropsy. After that, I got a document stating that those puppies were poisoned and killed before they were thrown over the fence into my courtyard, and everything was a setup, you know. And only when I got home back in the evening, exhausted and traumatized, Jesus showed all of this to me. They calm down. They planned to do this and this and this. They already had all these plans in place. They didn't expect you to call the police. They didn't expect you to do necropsy and to prove that they. So this is an example of how you break this, how you break a parallel reality which they try to enforce on you. And if it's already in motion, then you cannot stop it because there are too many. Just by being yourself and sticking to your values, then you break it this way. And God won't be able to tell you before what is being created, you know, because it's a test for you to pass it. What I have to tell you, and I insist on telling you, is that even if God doesn't tell you, you must know God is there with you, watching everything, and He takes pride in us staying in our light, even during these tests of parallel realities enforced as material existence in your life. Um, Even if you cannot talk to God or get guidance in that very moment, but He is there with you and He is watching everyone, and He keeps quiet so you can pass the test. And God will step in immediately once you prove their lies, and He will expose them to you and to others, their deceitful, untruthful ways, the denigration, the slander, and the lies. Now, throughout all this, you have to keep claiming justice, continuously claim judgment and punishment. This is the only way to defeat this type of attacks, because it's the only way you find out the truth, and you find out guidance from God on how to break the cycle and how to nullify that scenario which has been created, so you will stop it from being repeated in your life. I'm gonna stop here because it's already a long video. I will come back with other details. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my videos so we make all this information and knowledge from my spiritual fighting, from my work, available to as many as possible. Thank you.